You are tuning in to the Real and Hungry podcast, where we dive into the world of real estate investing for beginners. And why I say beginners is because I'm here with my main guy, Miguel,
Yo, yo.
and we've been into the world of real estate investing. We're about a year in, and we just want to share the challenges, victories, lessons learned, mistakes, what to do, what not to do. So, for further ado, this episode is going to be great because we're going to dive right into Miguel's number three or two?
Yeah, three.
Three. So, his third flip, and we're going to go through how much he bought it for, how he found the deal, how much he spent on the rehab, how he went through subcontracting and getting quotes for the rehab, how long it took him to fix it, how much he made, all that good stuff. So, Miguel, I think this is going to be a good one for you.
I'm excited. So, I want to point that out because I got to give some credit to my partner, man. I wouldn't be able to do this without my partner, Daniel. And him and we own the company Vision Housing Investment together. So, all that I do is also because his help, and he puts a lot into as well. So I want to give him some credit, and hopefully we can bring him one day and talk about his experience from his side as well.
Go Daniel, man. Shout out. We got to bring. Where you at, Daniel?
Let's go, Daniel.
Where are you hiding, Daniel?
But anyway, man, yeah. So this deal's really good because we actually found this deal on the market. People say all the time, man, I can't find a deal in the market. And it took a lot of chances, but hey, there's some deals out there. You just gotta look for it.
And when you say on the market, you were referring to a house that a seller went to a realtor, told them that they wanted to buy a house. The realtor took all their information, put it on the market, and then you can find these like in the MLS, which is like a nationwide listing portal where all the houses that are for sales that realtors have access to
Yeah.
it, but also like Zillow, Realtor.com, and all those websites that people go to. Is
Yeah,
that what you mean?
I'm not a realtor, so I don't have access to MLS, but I have access to Zillow, and that's exactly where I found it. And I just got in there and put my filters, and which I think we should make a video about how to find properties on the market. I think it's gonna really help a lot of people.
Let's start right now. This is one video. So what filters
Yeah.
for this specific one? What filters did you set? What perimeters did you have that help you find this house?
So when I look at, I don't know if for those that know how to use Zillow, you can do your city and state, and then you can also put on the filters. You can put keywords, and this is something I learned after my first deal, and I was like, man, this is game changing right here because it will automatically basically put all the properties that have to do with investing and that need work and stuff like that under one filter, so you don't have to go through hundreds of properties, right? So one few filters that I recommend would be TLC, is that right? TLC, yeah. And also investors.
What does TLC stand for?
I think, I don't know exactly, but I think it needs work. Like, I think the house needs work.
I think it's like tender love and care.
Something like
sure.
that. But
it needs a little bit of
that filter have helped me find some properties. I put it in there, man, TLC, and the automatic filters. You know how realtors put in the description, it needs TLC, or this house is beautiful, but it needs some TLC, or it needs some loft. So I put some of those keywords in there, and the automatic filters those properties with those kind of descriptions. So those, I have a better chance in those properties because, definitely they need some love, right? And I want to look for a house that needs some love, and I have some love to give them. But anyway, yeah, that's how I found it. I went on Zillow. Actually, I remember I was off that day, and I looked it up on Zillow. I usually get in there and check every now and then because you never know. Like, some people are missing out on some of these deals. So I put the keyword TLC, and this one came out. It was on Fairdale for those that are living in Louisville, Kentucky. I didn't even know about Fairdale at that time. And I was like, well, it looks like, it was around 1,200 square foot on a slab, siding house. And it didn't need a lot of work on the outside. I like that a lot because you don't have to spend that much time on the outside. You focus mainly on the inside. And, what another key, advice that I give people all the time is try to use the listing agent. It has been a game changer for me. Not all the time, but most of the time, if you go with the listing agent, most likely you're going to have a higher chance to get in that property.
So on this deal, and I'm going to play devil's advocate because I was going to say, obviously you can use Zillow to filters, but I had a realtor where I was like, hey, if you find me a good deal that needs some love, tender care, I'll buy it and it'll be a smooth transaction. And I actually had a realtor that found me a property, and we closed on it. So I think realtors could be a good
Oh
resource
yeah,
if they
of
know
course,
how to
man.
negotiate it. But in
And
your case, how'd that go?
And I
when you
use, I have a lot of people that bring me deals a lot of times, which I really appreciate because they know, that we're someone where if we give you a price in the house, that's what it is. We pay cash, we close quick, we don't ask for anything. So, that helps a lot, right? But,
For sure.
Back then especially, I didn't have the network that I have today, so I had to basically find my own deals. And, some realtors, they came out and then said, hey, I can help you find deals. And, I hate when they just put me on an email and they just send me a bunch of properties. Like, I try to tell everybody that I made, hey, this is my standards, this is my buying box. If you find something that fits it and we're close, send it and let's look at it. So that way, wasting your time and not wasting my time, right? So, if I hire, my thought process was, I'm not gonna hire somebody and look at 20 properties. They're gonna get tired. Eventually they're gonna drop me, right? So I'm just gonna go with the listing agent. A lot of times they, when I tell you something and you tell somebody else, there's missing up information right there, right? So I'm like, I'm gonna go with the direct source. I'm gonna ask the listing agent what's going on with the property. I'm sure he's gonna know. It's gonna come. The information coming straight on me, and I think it's a better communication from that standpoint, especially on these properties that need a lot of work.
That's a good point. So this one you went straight to the source.
Yeah, I called the listing agent. Hey, my name is Miguel. I'm an investor in Louisville. Looking at the listing you have from Fairfield. Can you tell me a little bit about the property? And then I'll be quiet. Because usually they tell you everything about the property. They tell you a lot of things that maybe they're supposed to tell you, but, we all like talking, and I love listening. So anyway, he told me about the property, kind of needed a lot of work. He was up front with me, some of the issues that he had, which I appreciated. But that's what I'm looking for, right?
That's great. So you obviously closed on it because it was a good deal. How did you determine that this was going to be a good deal for you and Daniel?
So, we have a formula that we use, right? So we typically buy 75% of ARV minus the rehab, and then it gives us the purchase price. So,
and I want to try to dumb that down a little bit. So when you buy a property, you want to make sure that you're really focused on the after repair value. That's what ARV stands for.
Yeah, because that's the most important value for us, right? So if you are able to figure out the ARV, which is the after repair value, you can automatically determine what's the purchase price based on the formula we use.
So, just to put it into words, so let's just say if you buy a house or if you want to buy a house that it needs some work, and after you fix it and it's really nice, the house is worth $100,000 after you do all the work. If you use your math, that means that you cannot pay more than $75,000 for that. Is that right? Is that
well,
right?
No, well, it depends on how much rehab it needs. Yeah, so I do 75% of 100,000. That's 75,000 minus the rehab. Let's say we put in about 20,000 on the house. I'm gonna have to buy the house for 55,000.
Gotcha. Oh yeah, that's right. So you're not taking in consideration the what you got to put into it. So that's just going to be your buffer. That's how you know that it's going to be a good deal. But then you also have to take in consideration how much money you're going to.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Like I'm looking at the house based on square footage now. With the experience, I kind of know where I'm at, especially with the information that the realtor's telling me. So right away, I know, hey, is it a good? Is it worth going to look at the house on the right? If we're, really really far away and they probably just came in the market, I still make an offer over the phone, but usually, I got to wait a little bit, right? But on this occasion, he listed the house at 140.
Okay.
But he did tell me, and that's why you got to listen. He did tell me that he had some motivated seller. There was a little bit of situation in the family. They needed to sell the house. Needs a lot of work. So he knows that he's targeting investors. Just people like us. They're going to look at the house. Typically, we'll look at the same number. So it's a lot of times who gets there first, right?
So it was listed for 140.
Mm-hmm.
How much did you secure the deal for?
I believe we pair on 117, 120 for the house.
So let's just so 20,000 less. So that's a great. You negotiated down $20,000 under. When you were looking at the house, what were the comps, like the comparables around that area for that house?
Man, it was somewhere on the, to be honest with you, 185 to 200,000. Like,
okay.
I always like to be somewhere in the middle, because I don't want to base my numbers on the highest property ARV. I don't want to base it on the lowest. I want to kind of, because if I base it on the lowest, then I'm not really competing with my offer. And if I base it on the highest, I have a higher chance to lose money, right? Or it's a higher risk for me. And I don't like doing that. I don't like putting our investors in high risk. So we try to play a fair game, right? So in this scenario, we went with about 190, 195 ARV. on the house. We knew we probably had to spend about 30,000 on it, and that gave us our purchase price.
Nice. Okay, so you came up with it 120, so that's good. Yeah, I mean that's what $55,000 after you repair it. So how much did you spend on it to fix it up? What was wrong? What was wrong
Here,
with the
let
house?
me look at the numbers real quick.
What was wrong with the house when you bought it?
Man, I mean, it needed everything pretty much. And what's really crazy is whoever was living there has been doing some handiwork to the house, and it was just really bad, the amount of work they did to it. But one thing we did though to the house, we added a half bathroom. It was originally a 3-1. We added another half bathroom, and that made it, because most people that live in apartments and they only have one bathroom, they know how long, especially if you're a big family, they know how you always gonna need the extra bathroom, right?
Right.
So we added the extra half bathroom, it kind of on the open space between the living room and the kitchen. So it really acts it for, like, if you're bringing people over the house, they don't have to go to the main bathroom. They can go to the guest bathroom. So, and we open it up as well. Excuse me. We made it open concept. As soon as you came in, you had the living room, dining and kitchen area, and he had a 1-car garage as well. So it was a pretty nice house. And I think, Don, we can get some pictures in there while we talk when we edit this video, so you can kind of see how the before and after the house, because it was real bad.
So in addition to adding a brand new half bath, what were like the major renovations that you had to do?
Man, that was actually, sometimes when you like, okay, I want to add a half bathroom, but we didn't have the experience we have today, and it came with a lot of work, because every time you get into a house, you will never be 100% prepared for the renovation. There's always something that is gonna come up, right? And there's some guys here in Louisville local that they call the oh shit budget, because every time something come out, they're like, oh shit, that means money, right? So we had a few oh shit budgets in there, and we had to spend a little bit more than expected. But
on the bathroom alone,
on the bathroom, because of running new plumbing, and
right.
It was a slab, so we had to break in the concrete and all that stuff. So that created a little bit, and that also takes you a little longer on the rehab, and that's money means time in this business, right?
So the bathroom. What else? What were the big renovations that you did besides adding the bathroom?
Honestly, man,
did you have to put a new kitchen in? Did you have to do new?
Yeah, that's just standard. We put brand new floors.
Okay.
We put brand new cabinets. We had a kitchen island in there, which we're gonna be putting some pictures. It was a really nice house. Once it was done, we painted the siding on the outside because it had this yellow color. It wasn't nice at all.
Okay.
And we tried to find this at the time. The blue was trending, that modern blue color. Mm-hmm. And we put it in there, and they were like, oh, shoot, what we did. It was a really crazy blue. And, I mean, ended up people liking it. And we repaired the roof. We had some issues with the roof. What else? Another song. I mean, we had a Reese's lights. I think people like that a lot. It's a big game changer. Okay. They had chickens on the garage, and it smelled really weird, and we had to clean all that out and repair as well. We took a wall down that it wasn't a low bearing wall at all, and then we had to build another wall to close to make the kitchen space, because it was a weird layout. I think two different families were living in there, so they split one side of the house for one family and the other house for the other family, but they were using the same kitchen, the same bathroom. It's kind of weird.
Yeah,
but it turned out good. It was a great flip, and it was our third property that we were working on. So,
how much did you guys profit on this one?
We profited $30,153.
Damn, that's pretty good. And how long did it take you from the time that you closed the home until you were able to sell it?
So we bought it in February and we closed in July. Closed means sold. So we bought it. So we probably spent 3 months on the renovation, and it takes a month and a half or so to close on it. So yeah.
Yeah, after you get it under contract. That's a solid deal, man.
Yeah, it is, man. If you're doing, right now we're doing 5 or 6 deals at a time. Obviously, if you're profiting $30,000 per house, which that's kind of where we like to stay. I mean, it makes a lot of sense,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great. When you were looking at the house, how did you estimate how much you were going to spend on it when you were just looking at it before you even submitted the offer?
I mean, we have some experience. We've done some renovation in it, but I had the big house that I did on the first one, and I love numbers, so I recorded a lot of the things that I was paying for per square footage and things like that. So, but we came from doing the first deal that we did with our company, and which was around the same size of house. So we were like, okay, we spend this much on this size of house. which we were doing kind of same similar work, so we kind of knew where the numbers were, $25,000-$30,000 for this amount of work and the size of the house. So we're like, okay, we're gonna be somewhere about $30,000, and we ended up spending 35.
Gotcha. That's good. So you just based on history, I guess.
Yeah, based on the data. I mean, you know, if any company, they base their numbers based on their stats, right? So you got to look always at your numbers, because the numbers don't lie. I always say that. You know, so we look at the numbers. We're like, okay, we did a 1,200 square foot house. We ended up spending, you know, $45,000, for example, but we had to do X amount of things to it. If we buy another 1,200 square foot house, we don't have to do this amount of things. So then means that we can probably spend less, right? So, you know, right now we base our price per square footage depending on the conditions of the house, and you know, we're pretty close on that.
Based on so like that particular one, adding the bathroom, that added a bunch of
value.
Thanks to the it added value, but also a lot of shit to the budget, right?
Yeah, shit budget. Hey, shout out! I think they call the brothers here in Louisville, so they're really cool. They got some really cool videos on Instagram, man.
Yeah,
yeah.
All right.
Oh shit budget. They have a video about it. It was funny.
Really? So in addition to that, like, what would you say, with your experience, are the most common things that an investor will miss that would turn into being more money that you have to spend on a flip?
Man, gonna tell you, I mean,
or maybe things that just randomly has evolved, but have you noticed like a pattern of, we're not accounting for this, and then he ends up that you need something?
You know,
like
we
that.
don't account a lot of time for electrical and plumbing stuff. You know, like you know, before I did these many renovations that we've done already, you know, we were like, okay, we're gonna add a half bathroom. Yeah, but I didn't have a bathroom. How much it's gonna cost you, and how much value it's gonna bring to the house, right? So, you know, because you're thinking, okay, just because you have the space doesn't mean that it's gonna be cheap, right? You gotta run plumbing there, and then you gotta find out if you can actually get the plumbing there, if you can get the electrical there, and how much it's gonna take to do that, you know. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have a bathroom next to each other, and it's really easy, you know. But if you trying to run pipes across the room, then it's gonna cost you a lot more money. Can you do it? Is it worth it? You know. So some of those questions, you can't just base it on, okay, I'm at another half bathroom. No, you gotta look at how much it's gonna cost your business, how much it's gonna give you back, you know. Yeah. So in this scenario, we had some comps that had more than one bathroom. They were selling a lot faster than the ones that didn't. And, you know, even though we ran into some OSHA budget, you know, we knew that we could do it because the bathroom was behind it, and we could just flip it around real well. But then we had to find out about a toilet that flushed from the back, and I actually didn't even know those existed.
Oh,
yeah, so they're a little more expensive, but, you know, because otherwise we had to break into a slab and connect to the main sewer, right? So in this way, we didn't have to do that. We just flushed through the back. So it was really convenient to be able to find that out, you know. And YouTube is our friend. That's where we find about it. Yeah. So
interesting.
Yeah.
So how much do you think an average bathroom add-on to a house would add in value?
Man, I think, you know, like another full bathroom.
Yeah.
I think probably could add another, you know, $15,000.
And that's a lot.
Yeah.
Because you could probably, I mean, if you do it right, if you don't do it too big, what do you think it'll cost you? Maybe half of that?
Oh, yeah, man. Like right now, probably like, I don't know, $3,000 or less, you know, depending on how nice you're making it. Yeah. So, and it also attracts more buyers. I mean, in the market where we're at today, you know, when the way I look at it is, okay, you know, I got a family looking at this, right? So would you rather have one or two bathroom, you know? And again, people got to think about this. It not always makes sense. If you're in a neighborhood where there is no houses selling for, you know, 3.2 and you have a 3.1, what would you make a 3.2 when you don't have no comps for it?
Right.
You know, if your ARV is gonna be 195 with 3.1, you know, I don't think you're gonna get 225 just because you add another bathroom. You know what I mean? Like,
for sure.
And you're gonna go through the time hassle of making another bathroom, and you don't gonna get that return. I don't do it. You know, I gotta keep things simple as well. You know.
That makes sense.
So,
what else, man? Tell me something else that you learned from this deal.
Man, you know, one of the things that we learned, like I said, was, you know, make sure before you go on adding things and make budget for it, make sure you look at all the, you know, things that could go wrong and the things that what it takes to get it done. You know, how much money is gonna bring to the deal versus how much money you're spending. You know, and you know, another thing that I learned is in these particulars, I never done a deal on that area. There's always a chair for everybody, like they say. So, don't think. Cause that was a big mistake we had in the beginning. I'm not buying this house because I wouldn't live in it. No, man. It's everybody's had their own budget. Everybody likes to live in different places. So just look at the ARV. The numbers don't lie. So if the ARV is telling you the houses are selling for $200,000, that's the number that you're gonna use to come out with your purchase price.
So I think that's a good point. So now that you said that, so for like an up and coming investor, if you just want to get into flipping house, because that's the thing to do, right? Everybody wants to at least.
Everybody thinks it's easy.
Everybody thinks it's easy, of course. How do you find the comps to support what you think the after repair value will be? Because I mean, anybody can look at a house and it's three bedrooms, 2 bath, or 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, and say, oh yeah, that's worth $200,000, $195,000. But how do you? I know one of the ways I can tell you is you could obviously reach out to a realtor and say, hey, I'm looking at this house. Can you do some research for me and pull some comps? And realtors are great at that. There's probably nobody better than doing that. But if you don't have a realtor, how would you go about doing that? Or how did you do that on this particular deal?
I don't like bothering people too much. Like I bother Hunter, or now we're like good buddies, and he's my partner too. But you got to learn how to do yourself, right? Because nobody's going to pay more attention to details than you, right? So that's why I think we should make a video on how to comp properties and find deals. But basically, I look, let's say we're looking at a neighborhood that is between main roads, on Zillow, there's a tool that you can make a circle around there. So you can select only that neighborhood that your property is at, that you're trying to buy. And then you can go on Zillow, you can put recently sold. I start with 6 months. I put the same amount of square footage, the same amount of bedrooms and bathrooms, and I hit, search. And then it pulls the houses that I've sold in the last 6 months with the same, characteristic that the house that I'm trying to buy has. So then after that, I look at, okay, this house, sold dated for X amount of dollar. This house was updated and sold for X amount of dollars. This one, it's kind of nice, sold for X amount of dollars, sold for the same price as this one. Then I go in, I see how long it took, for them to sell it, because that's really important. You don't want to have your money, too long stuck in a property, right? So to me, that's, I might have a really good deal, but if the properties are selling there in a month, I'm not really too much interested about it, right? So as to me, we look at that factor too. So I'm like, okay, this house sold like less than a week, man. This is a good area right here. Then I go to 12 months. After 6 months, I go to 12. And you're going to have a little more information in there. I don't go really past 12 months unless I really don't have any comps for it. And if we don't have any comps, we don't buy. That's one rule that we never, pass, because like I said, the numbers don't lie. If I have a house down the street that sold for $195, I know that I can sell mine for $195. I'm going to feel comfortable when the appraisal guy comes in. Hey, the first comp that I'm going to send him, if the value comes under, I'm going to say, hey, look, this house sold for this much. Why are you, taking that in consideration? So, and another reason why we always go a little less on the ARV than the highest sold property in the neighborhood is because you never know if they're adding closing costs and things like that, right? So I'm always off a little bit, like $5,000-$10,000.
That's good, just to be conservative.
Yeah, man. You gotta, we like to be careful with the money, especially when you're using someone else's money. We don't want to make a bad move when it comes.
Yeah, you're also going to go through the process of buying a house, getting it under contract, getting people to work on it, spend 2-3 months. By the way, when you're fixing a flip, you got to pay for LG&E or plumbing or water.
Oh yeah, that's a big one right there.
I don't think people account for that, right? Like, and we call it the holding cost.
So
right?
Yeah, let me tell you, that's a good thing you brought that up. On this property itself, including commissions, we paid $14,691.39.
So that's commissions, and then what else?
Yeah, so that commissions, insurance, closing costs and fees, interest on the loan, and that's it. So interest on the loan, commissions, closing costs and fees, and insurance.
So for those of you that want to get into flipping a house, you got to find the money to buy the house. Then when you buy the house, for example, if you get a loan on it to buy the house, you got to pay interest and a monthly payment on that loan. Then you have to get insurance. Usually it's like a builder's risk. So while you're working on the house, you got to have insurance on it. And then if you need utilities, you got to pay for that on top of paying contractors, going there all the time, making sure that everything is done how it's supposed to be. making trips, I'm sure, to Lowe's and Home Depot to find it.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of work that goes into it. And of course, you made $30,000. It was worth it. You spent 3 months fixing it. You made some profit out of it, but people really need to take in consideration the time spent, the money spent, and then the holding costs, which is everything that we don't think about.
Yeah,
that
man.
has nothing to do with the actual rehab of the home.
Well,
and
you
then
know,
like the realtor's commission, right? Like when you go to list it, put it on the market to sell it.
that's a big one right there.
You know
People
you're gonna be
forget that
paying.
about that.
You know you have to pay 6%, so you can go ahead and,
Yeah.
and get it sold.
Because I mean, even if you pay cash your own money, right, and you don't have any interest payment on it, I mean, a lot of people don't account for commission. That itself usually 6% of the ARV.
Yeah, 6% of what
I
you're
mean,
going to
that
sell.
could be
that
a lot
house
of
for.
money. You know
That
what I
is
mean?
a lot of money.
So I mean,
yeah.
in $200,000, a lot of money, for example. You know.
But to your point, when you find the deal, you already taking in consideration all that. So you know, the realtor that's going to help you sell the house, he's going to make money or she's going to make money. So you've already done the work in the front end.
Yeah. And a lot of times, what I do is another advice. You know, I tell the listing agent when I'm buying a house, look, man, you know, if we get this house, you know, one way or another, and we're gonna flip it, you're gonna be the listing agent, and that, you know, hold my word to it. And most of the houses that we buy on the market, they go back to the listing agent, you know, and it's a win-win situation. And I know if they come across another deal, guess who they're gonna call, you know, because I want everybody to win, man. You know, we're on this together. You know, they help me get it, they help me sell it, they make money both ways. They help me make money. Everybody's happy, right?
Yeah, that's the plan.
Yeah.
And I think this has been good, man. Is there anything else that you felt like we left out? Obviously, this was your deal, so I really want you to bring this to life, and hopefully we painted a picture for the listeners on how that deal went and how you bought it, how much you bought it. So just to recap, went on the market for 140. You got it under contract for 120. You spent about 35,000.
I got it for 117. Put about 35,000 into it.
35.
Had about 14,000 on holding costs, including commissions and stuff, and we profit 30,100 and something. Yeah.
Yep. So math was pretty simple. Everything in between probably not so much.
No, man. You know, this is just to kind of go back to what we're saying. You know, always account for the OSHA budget. You know, there's always gonna be things that come up that you weren't expecting when you're renovating an old house. You know, account for those hidden fees like the commissions and the LG&E bills and the water bills, and you know, like the interest payment if you're making payments on these, if you have a loan. So account for all these things before you actually make an offer. And one important thing: never get emotional about it. If you don't get it, move on to the next one. If you don't get it, move on to the next one. There's gonna be one that's gonna be for you, and that's the one that's gonna make you money. Because if you involve emotions in the business, most likely you end up failing one way or another. So, you know.
And I think that's probably key. So I think you ended up on a great note, man. I thought that was great, man. Thank you for
let's go.
For telling people.
If you find us a house, we'll give you $1,000 finder's fee. So let's get a house together. If you're a wholesaler or realtor, bring it to us and let's make money together.
We're buying houses
all the time.
Let's go.